Hi, we're Piers and Andy from Me and My Golf.
And welcome to Find a Fairway.
Thanks for joining us, and a big thank you to PGA Catalunya for having us. Voted #1 course in Spain. It's a fantastic golf course, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, really nice.
Beautiful weather as well, and you're going to see plenty of the holes throughout this 6-part video series. Now, Andy, let's get into this. We're talking about hitting fairways. One of the most overlooked things in missing fairways is actually the contact on the face. So when people hit the ball out the toe and the heel, they need to understand that it will cause the golf ball to curve and even start offline. So we need to go through this, and we're going to be going through an evaluation as well with you in a moment. But Andy, what happens when somebody hits the golf ball off the toe, for instance?
Well, look, most people tend to look at swing, as Piers mentions there, but strike is so overlooked. If you strike it off the toe of the golf club on the driver, more so because it's got this sort of curve on the face, it's going to start a little right of where it would normally start, but then it's going to curve back to the left. And then opposite on the heel, if you hit it on the heel, it's going to start a little further left, but then it's going to curve back to the right. So your off-centre hits will influence the starting direction,
Yep.
but also the curvature of the golf ball. So you need to really be aware of where you're striking the golf ball, because if you can find it more at the centre, you're going to hit straighter drives,
Yep.
and excuse me, and you're going to get the most out of the driver too.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that you need to understand is from what Andy has said there, how it does affect the curve. Obviously, curving the golf ball is a good thing sometimes for people hitting fairways. So hitting the golf ball ever so slightly out the heel or ever so slightly out the toe is good as long as it is consistent and repeatable. So we'll go through an evaluation in a moment there, Andy, but before we get into that, the vertical mishit, so we're talking about hitting the bottom of the club or the top of the club, high up on the club, should I say, that isn't going to really affect how it curves offline. It's more going to affect the spin and the launch angle on the shot. So Andy, throughout this video series, we're going to ask people to evaluate, because we want you to find out what you are doing wrong. We don't want any guessing going on here. So we need to evaluate, first of all, where the golf ball is coming from.
We do, yes. So what we'd recommend that you guys do is actually get some foot spray. You can actually get it from the local chemist. We use this a lot and spray it on the face, or you can get some face tapes from your local professional. So all you're going to do is apply the spray or the tape to the golf club, hit some shots, and what this will show up is that your strike pattern, you're going to see exactly where you're striking on the face, whether it be heel, toe, low or high, and this is a great feedback tool for you as we move through the series to help fix and train a more centered hit, a game which is going to help you hit more fairways.
And don't just base this on one session, base it on a couple of sessions so you know what the obviously consistent patterns that you're starting to develop. Okay, with that said, Andy, I think what we need to do now is get into the movements, but first of all, let's look at the setup, how that can affect these mishits.
Perfect.
So now you'll have some ideas on the patterns that you are creating once you go and take this to the driving range. And as we said before, make sure you do it several times just so you get that consistency. Andy, setup, really important. Again, maybe overlooked. Distance from the golf ball, posture, weight distribution can cause you to hit off centre.
Definitely,
so what sort of things do we see?
Well, look, as we said, really, before we start looking at the golf swing, because golfers automatically say, well, look, I've got it must be this, and they're working so hard, but it could be as simple as just how you stand into the golf ball. So let's start with somebody who, let's say, strikes it off the heel, Piers. Somebody who strikes it off the heel, we often see that they are standing too close to the golf ball, okay, and often with their weight back on their heels. Now, what tends to happen here is, because they're so close and the weight's too far back, as they engage and swing, what tends to happen is the sweet spot of the club then moves further away than it started. This is where that heel strike gets. So if you are a heel striker, make sure you give yourself plenty of room. You've got plenty of room between you and the golf ball, and make sure the weight is through the middle of the feet, right through the 3 stripes in the arches here. This gives you enough space to hopefully get that consistent sweet spot back to the centre of the golf ball.
Okay, anything else?
Oh, no, it's pretty good for a heel striker, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, so let's go for, what about from further, obviously a toe striker?
Toe striker, so it's the opposite. Generally, we see people who with a toe striker often too far away, hands very far away from their body, weight almost too much on their toes, and what happens here, again, the sweet spot wants to travel closer to the body, often resulting in that consistent toe strike. So you could be working at the golf swing consistently trying to fix it when it could be so simple just getting the posture right. And really, this is why we want you to sort of look and check, maybe use your camera to video yourself, or get the mirror to check as well, because it really does help.
It's all about evaluating. It's interesting also, with standing too far away, you can actually put the odd heel strike in there as well, because you're just so much off balance. So, Andy, look, we obviously need to look at some swing faults, but before we do that, we need to give you some drills which are going to help focus on a centered strike. Stay with us. So Andy, it's about time we got people hitting the golf ball out the centre of the club face. Now, I notice you have a couple of white lines on the ground there, so we're talking about some drills and some negative feedback. So can we start with the heel strike? Yeah,
definitely. And the feedback is, I think the feedback is always great training to see if you're doing it right and wrong. If you haven't got the spray or you don't use it, feedback like this is really useful, but it also forces you to do a better move as well. So for the heel striker, what we're going to do is focus on the inside line here, just inside the golf ball, and we're going to place a head cover just outside the golf ball, giving you hardly any space. So if you were to actually come down with the sweet spot of the club further away, you're going to take out the cover. Now the idea with this is really to miss the cover, but what we've got with the white line on the ground is really that's where we want to feel that our sweet spot is swinging closer to. So generally we know that if you're hitting it off the heel, then your sweet spot is further away or outside the golf ball. So moving the sweet spot a little bit more inside the golf ball is going to move the centre, well the strike, sorry, more centred or even toe. I'm just going to give myself a little bit more room there.
Oh, he's giving himself a little bit more room.
And if you're hitting off the heel, a toe strike is going to be very nice at this stage.
And I think the good thing with this as well, Andy, we actually get people to look at the line they're focusing on as well. You haven't got to look at the golf ball when you're doing this, so if you focus on the line, you definitely will start getting some toe strikes, which will be heaven if you're a heel striker. So let's see you play this shot then.
Okay, so all I'm going to focus on here, I'm making sure I'm going to miss the cover, and I'm really focusing on swinging the sweet spot more down the inside line as opposed to the outside line here. So I'm really going to work hard to get a toe strike here. And if you can, keep the face spray on there. That's really going to give you that feedback also. So here we go. Expect a toe shot here.
Nice shot. Slightly out of toe?
Slightly out the toe as well, yeah.
Out of toe?
A little bit off the toe. But again, miss the cover. That's the aim, and make it tough. Make that cover, put that cover in really close. So if you do slightly go forward, you're going to hit it.
Okay, sounds good. Andy, what about the toe strike?
Well, the toe strike is
something similar?
It's the opposite, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap the cover round. Get another ball on there. Swap the cover round now so it's on the inside. Okay, again, make it close so you've got really hardly any space. I'm going to bring that a little closer, make it a bit harder. And again here, we've got another line on the outside of the golf ball here. So what we're going to focus on here now is getting the club, or the sweet spot of the club, feeling like it's swinging a little bit more over that line there. And again, you can see now my sweet spot is a long way away from the cover. Again, if we're somebody who hits the toe of the golf club, I'm going to take the cover out. So again, you've got the incentive or the thought process to get the sweet spot swinging further away, and you've got the feedback here to almost force you that way as well.
Let's see you play a shot on this one as well. And I think the thing with this is that actually, I said before, it'll feel like heaven if you hit it the opposite part of the club you're used to. It really will feel different, and it actually will help your golf shot, hopefully.
Okay, so let's focus. A little bit of a heel strike on this one. As you can see, ball went left and low and faded back.
Yeah.
That was definitely, but again, you know, I'm forcing myself to do a slightly different move, and that's what the guys at home need to do there to make that change. They need to do something a little different.
So I think if you, let's go with the toe strike. If you're extreme toe all the time, and you need to know what it's like to get out the heel, and then you can bring it obviously back to the middle. I think obviously the one thing, Andy, if somebody is hitting it all over the place, so their heel and toe, just place 2 head covers down. So you can put both head covers down and just focus on missing those. And some people look at it and go, "Wow, it makes it easy with those covers down." It does not, it makes it harder.
Yes, definitely.
But it's really great training to get it out of the centre. Right, Andy, great job.
Thank you.
We need to look at some of the swing faults now, which cause the heel and toe strikes. Andy, let's go with the heel strike first of all. Now, there's lots of different swing faults and swing styles that can cause heel strikes, but we're going to pick out the 2 main swing faults that we see on a regular basis. And the first one is the open club face. So can you just talk us through that?
Well, the open club face is really, the club face is so much responsible for the starting direction. So what this does generally influence everything else. So what we want to focus on really is that we see a lot of golfers, Pierce, who hit the heel because of their club face during the backswing. So they often have this over rotation opening of the face during the backswing, which then leads on to cause other faults, which then lead to that heel strike. So if you can have a better move away during the backswing and get a better club face position, this then has so many other positive effects in the golf swing, and it really increases your chances then of finding the centre of the golf club. So this first part of the golf swing is crucial for that.
So we're not saying, Andy, that if you can get the club face square in the backswing, it doesn't mean that the face won't open throughout the rest of the swing. We're just saying it's the first port of call, aren't we?
Yeah, and it just gives you that better chance really of just finding the centre.
Okay, so we're going to attack the takeaway,
Yep.
get the face squarer. What is the drill we're going to do?
Okay, well this is sort of, it's almost just like a little chip swing really,
Okay.
but we're really going to pay attention to what the leading edge of the club face is doing. And as we mentioned, we see a lot of guys with this over rotation here of the club face leading to all these other swing faults,
Yeah,
causing that heel strike.
See, the face is pointing out over here, isn't it? The leading edge is pointing out behind you almost.
Definitely. So what we're going to get you guys to do at home is just rehearse. First of all, we need to check, maybe even film yourself using your phone, but we're going to check and see if we can get the club face closer to your spine angle when the club is parallel to the ground. This is then going to increase the chances then of finding that centeredness of strike. But just rehearsing this motion here, this short swing where you focus on that club face, it might feel a little strange, it might feel like it's doing this to you guys if you are somebody who over rotates, but that's fine. Getting this club face pointing a little more down will certainly have a more positive effect on the strike from there.
Just do that again for me. When you do the good one here, we can see that actually it attacks another swing fault. So basically his move away is more connected. When the face opens, he creates another swing fault, which can actually cause the heel strike as well. So
Definitely.
all ends up, this is a really good place to start if you're hitting the golf ball out of the heel with the open club face.
So we're just going to do a chip swing here, rehearsing that motion on the way back, club face a little more closed, and then hitting the driver, just a short swing, getting it going down
I
there.
notice you've got the head cover there as well, so we can have the feedback in there as well.
Yeah.
You can even have the line to the side as well. You'll notice Danny's aiming a little bit further left because of the water.
Yeah,
but
so
I'm expecting a low, maybe even a little draw on this
a
one.
low little draw. Again, really focusing on that club face, feeling a little more closed.
Beautiful.
And there's that. That was a pretty solid strike as well for a short shot there, but I had to put the attention there on just getting that club face a little more closed, and I'll be happy with that strike.
I think you'd have made the carry if you'd have aimed straighter. Okay, so what's the next one?
The over the top.
Over the top. Andy, what on earth is this in the ground?
This is the ultimate feedback station. This is, to be
Ultimate
fair.
feedback station. So we're talking about over the top.
Yeah.
Okay, so just go through what the over the top is first of all.
Okay,
Good.
often linked to the open club face, but we've sorted a little bit of the open club face out there. Now look, the over the top move you've probably seen from our other videos is where the club will swing over the top of the swing plane, and look what's going to happen here. If you do this, you are going to hit this on the way down and probably miss the ball.
So this is going to change the direction the club is swinging when you're striking it.
So the idea of this is simple. We've got the cover in place still here, but what we're going to focus on here is making sure the downswing is going to swing much more from the inside. You can see the room I've got here now, and if I do this now, I've got a much better chance of finding that centre. Now, this is on the target line at about 25 degrees, let's say, at an angle here, so great idea how to set that up, but this is going to force you to do the right move.
Yeah, I think if you look at it here now, that if we consider that we've got the chip swing you could do with this inside approach mechanism we have there, you know, there's obviously then you do this swing with the full, sorry, this you have this object in the ground with the full swings. You're going to start to get rid of these repeatable patterns that you're getting, and you're going to change the strike, aren't you?
You are, yeah, and you think about the over the top move. As soon as we get the club moving over this way, the sweet spot of the club is moving that way. And again, remember, what we want to try and do for the heel strike is get the sweet spot of the club a little bit closer in here so we can find the centre.
Yeah, okay, all right, I see you hit it then. This
Right.
looks really good. It's a great
I'm worried about this one, Pierce.
a bit tight, is
It's
that
a bit
one,
tight, this one. I can give myself any room, so let's
And
see if I can...
The good thing with this, you can actually obviously set it how you want to. Make sure you've got the noodle on there to protect it if you do hit it.
This is going to be toe.
This is toe, definitely, then, okay.
And there we have it, there was a toe. And that was a nice little draw. Do you know what, with these drivers nowadays, if you hit it slightly toe, you can still hit a very nice drive.
If you've got anyone who's hitting a heel strike slice, they're going to love what they've just done there.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, Andy, we need to now go into the toe strike.
Okay,
So, Andy, it looks like we've got rid of the heel strike.
hopefully.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. The toe strike, what is the number one common reason that we see as coaches which causes that toe strike?
Well, generally we see that the shaft returns too much upright when we strike the golf ball. So watch what happens as I get the shaft swinging too much upright like this, that offers the toe to the golf ball.
Yes.
And often we see, this generally happens with a golf swing, we see a too upright golf swing. So let's just give you a good example really of the two different types of swings we're going to see here and how it could maybe be causing that. So somebody who strikes the golf ball, you'll see by the trace of this golf club, we often see that the club shaft swings very much up, and you can see the trace here is quite high, and then on the way down here you'll see, again, we often see now, this is where that upright shaft comes from. There's the toe hitting the golf ball. So really, if we can change the angle and of the shaft and the way it swings around the body, we're going to see a big difference. So
really interesting. Then even when you were doing that in slow motion, you were struggling not to hit the head cover, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So what's the difference on this one? I'm going to get the club swinging a little bit more around the body as we swing away. So you can see now the trace is much flatter, much more around. Now as I start the downswing now, you'll see the shaft is swinging a lot shallower on the way down, and this makes it so much easier now to find the center of that golf club. You know, so just the swing shape there,
Yeah.
big difference in the two shapes. And if you can get closer to this one, if you
Yeah.
strike the toe, you're going to find the center more.
And this is the biggest reason. As we said, there are lots more reasons that this can happen. So with that in mind, we'll leave the cover in, we'll
Yeah.
leave the line in, and you're just going to feel as though the swing is a little bit more
Definitely, yeah.
around, aren't you?
Definitely. So I'm just going to rehearse this now again. Just feeling the club is swinging a little more around the body. Okay, that's going to hopefully flatten out that shaft and hopefully give me the best chance possible to get
Perfect.
at the middle.
All right, see you do it.
Miss the covers here again.
Yeah, you've missed them so far. I'm impressed.
Okay, right. Let's see. Again, and maybe another heel strike on this one.
Yeah, I would say so. Looking at that
Slightly
five.
heel, and I'll be happy with that. That's sort of just caught the fairway there.
Yeah, for you, a heel strike actually will still hit the fairway,
Yeah.
generally speaking. Good job. Thank you so much for watching. We really hope you enjoyed that. Now don't forget to post those comments and questions down below.
Yes, and to see the rest of the series, make sure you click on the link in the corner to memygolf.com, where you can join for free and experience our Find a Fairway May month. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.